Terrell here, and I'm back again with another review, this time for the 2022 film, The Ambush. The Ambush is a war movie that is covering pretty much, again, an ambush here. But the synopsis of the story is when three Emirati soldiers are ambushed by hostile territory. In a hostile territory, their commander leads a clearing mission to rescue them. So this is your basic, you get stuck behind enemy lines, and your time for your team to go out and try to rescue you movie. We've seen this in various other films. More, I would say, more like American soldiers going to rescue their soldiers, stuff like that. We've seen this in like Top Gun. We've seen this in I want to say Black Hawk Down, and various like other movies that we've seen. This time we have Arab soldiers here that we get a perspective of, and this movie is subtitled, so there is no, as far as I know, there's no dub over for this movie that I've heard, and of course I would have watched it in its original language anyway. But you don't really get a lot of setup here. Like this movie is based on a true story, and so you kind of, if you know this story, like when I see stuff that's based on true stories, I'm like, okay, you kind of already know the outcome. So like, what's the point of watching the movie? But this movie does give a lot more context as to kind of like what happened, I guess, as far as they can describe. Get a little bit of embellishment here and there with these like based on the true story movies. But the first thing I want to say is, the first thing you see is this was published, or this is brought out by Saban. And Saban Films does not has the best track record when it comes to releasing certain movies. And you kind of get a stigma behind it, like, oh yeah, this is going to be terrible. Or they have like they kind of put out these D-list movies, and this I wouldn't say is a D-list movie, but it just did not keep my attention the whole movie. This unfortunately was one of those movies where, had I seen it in the movie theater, I probably would have been upset that it just wasted 2 hours of my time. I just, no point, even though this was a war movie, a rescue movie, it just did not hold my attention at all. Like, unfortunately, it was boring. Like, even though there was guns being shot and people being killed, it was just boring. Like, I just really felt like I wasn't feeling the motivations of the characters in the story. The soldiers that were coming to rescue their teammates, even the soldiers that were trapped in the armored RV in this car. I just wasn't feeling emotion. Like, we get a couple scenes where we see them like try to call their family and say, hey, I'm not gonna make it, potentially stuff like that. And it just, I don't know. I can't say if it was because potentially it was another language that I wasn't really hearing the emotion, which is not true, because I've watched other foreign films and TV shows, and I feel like the emotion translate through, regardless of like the language. I just think the story just wasn't there for this, and the way they had it framed, it was just absolutely boring. Like, I really wanted to like this. As soon as I saw the trailer, I'm like, oh man, this is going to be good. This. But they just really dropped the ball here. And I don't know where they could have picked it up. And I'm not going to just say, hey, the overall story. But there was a couple scenes where I do think they got a lot of the action stuff right, where people was getting clipped. The rocket launchers being shot. The armory was impressive in this movie. Like, whoever the weapons guy was, whoever did the explosion in the movie. Now he deserves some credit. That's probably one of the best highlights of the film, was that the gun scenes and the explosions were pretty cool, but that just was not enough to hold my attention. Like, once that's done, you can only do that for so long in a movie, because then your budget's gone, right? You can only do that for so long, and then we get back to story, but the story was just not there for this movie at all, and I really wanted it to be. Other than that, man, like I said, the score they decided to use, like the music, I'm not gonna say typical war music or like army music you hear. I don't necessarily think it fit the scenes of like what was going on. And maybe that probably could have been some of the issue. Like the music just didn't hold my attention to some of the scenes where they're like, exchanging fire and stuff like that. You also never really get any understanding of like what is going on. I mean, I guess if you decide to do some light reading or Google the situation, you never get an understanding of like, okay, yeah, these are soldiers that they're going out on this route, yeah, they're going to an enemy camp, but that is just a lot of like, just first of all, the movie's 2 hours, right? 2 hour movie, or hour and 50 minutes of kind of just like, okay, we're stuck in this vehicle with these soldiers. They're trying to figure out how they're going to get out and get away from the situation, and kind of never really get the enemy's motivation. Is like, what's going on? I mean, I guess we kind of really didn't need it for this, but I feel like that would have held more weight to it if you're like, oh, okay, this is why the bad guys of the story are trying to trap them on this mountain, and we never get any explanation for that whatsoever, other than, oh, okay, we're just here to kill these soldiers, and figure out what's going on. Now, like I said, we get some insight of kind of the camp, but nobody really gets any time to really get like real character definition here. And again, it's based on a true story, so I guess it's only so. I mean, if it's based on a true story, then you would think they would give the people that use more character development here. They could do a little bit more, and that's just not at all what you get in this movie. And like I said, if I would have saw this in the movie theater, I would have been like, man, this, and I would have asked for my money back. It was just boring. Like, unfortunately, I don't know how that's even possible to make a movie where you're exchanging gunfire and explosions boring, but somehow they did this here. Obviously, seeing, people, have liked this movie, but I could tell you it ain't for me. I mean, if you do wind up seeing it somehow, some way, it's a skip for me personally. This is a folding laundry movie. I mean, unfortunately, it is subtitled, so you got to read, you kind of got to pay attention, which was kind of probably half the downfall. I was kind of like, man, if it was a dub, probably would have been more interested, or probably, I probably would have had a, excuse to maybe I could fold some clothes while I watch this, but that's just not the case here. The Ambush is just obviously, like I said, just not the movie I think you should be going out to watch. See, Saban Films, and not to discredit any actor in the movie. I feel like they did the best they could. I just don't think the story was there. I just don't think the writing was there for this movie to hold your attention. Unfortunately, I may say they could have had cameos from Steven Seagal and God knows who. Every action hero in this movie, and I don't think it would have been good. I don't want you to think I'm bashing the movie just because it was a different language. As I said, I've seen other things that I've watched where it's good, the story's good, but again, I don't know. The story is basically the thing that holds this entire thing back. I'm not even going to make excuses for it. The movie's boring. I didn't like it. I do not recommend that you watch this movie. If you do, I already told you. I already warned you here. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below when you watch this review about the 2022 film The Ambush, again by Saban Films, and just let me know what you think. Again, I didn't like it, so I'll see you guys next time. Give you another review. See you.